Hey everyone, it's VM Campos, photography fan. Welcome to another streaming Saturday. Welcome to everyone. We are doing another hangout session, photography, just chatting sort of thing. If you're usually here for the magic stuff, well, maybe you'll still hang out. We'll talk about the magic of photography instead of the magic of magic. So, I've got various photos that we'll look at, some film photography, some digital photography, just chatting about things and stuff, and anything that comes to our minds in the stream, questions and answers, and the like. So, it'll be a just chatting stuff. So, I'll probably repeat myself as people come into the stream, but the first thing that I'm going to do here is I took some photos earlier today, and I need to pare them down to what I want to keep or not. So, I'm just going to kind of browse them a little bit, and then make some snap judgments about keeping them or not. Like this doesn't seem too interesting. Probably delete that one. This one's also not that great. Now these photos, I took them with the new camera that I got. I have way too many cameras. So, and I added another one to the family. This one is I guess I have it in the other room. This is Canon EOS 1000D, and actually, just out of curiosity, when is that camera from again? Let's use the power of the internet. So digicamfinder.com, proud sponsor of the stream one day. Ooh, this looks cool. This Fuji XP30 has a fun style, and this Lumix FP1 that's got a blinding color that I kind of want. And that's Samsung. Okay, so anyway, this is the EOS 1000D, and it's from 2008, 10 megapixels. So, in the grand scheme of things, I guess it's 15 years old, or so. Help me do the math there. And it was in the US, it was the Rebel XS. I don't know if they were trying to be cheeky with that, the XS. And so it was just a few bucks on eBay, like literally $20 or something. When that was brand new, that was a $500 camera. And then so now on eBay, unloved and neglected, and I had lenses for it and everything. I did have to get a battery charger, but that's another like $10. So this was not expensive at all. And the big idea is eventually I want to probably convert it to an infrared camera, or keep it as black and white camera, or do something with it. So that's the camera. It's from 2008. So anyway, back to the photos. And I had a 24 millimeter lens, so it's a nice wide angle, although in CMOS, in APS-C format, let's see, that's a 24 times 1.6. It's actually a 38 millimeter. APS-C sensors on Canon have a 1.6 crop factor. So in classic photography, you had the millimeters, the specific field of view on the millimeters, but then on the crop factor of Canon, it makes it a 38.4. So still wide, but not as wide as if it was on regular film. So I might delete this, or maybe if it got cropped to something interesting, something like that. So the composition wise, if I cropped it like that, it might be interesting, and then maybe turn it into black and white or something, but that one's on the chopping block. We'll give it a 1 star on that, probably delete that one. Yeah, nothing interesting at all there, I think. Even if you crop it down to something like that, I guess you would see a purple building, a blue building, that huge QR code. It was a gloomy day today. We've been having a whole week of gloomy days, so it's feeling like England or something. Well, not so bad, but it's always sunny San Diego here, and we are not quite experiencing it recently, so I guess this one might be also on the chopping block. I'll put a 1 star on that one. I have 2 of those. Yeah, these are not good at all. I'll just remove them right now. Don't really think there's anything interesting. Why did I take 2 of them, actually? So both of them are exact. Oh, that's F8 and that's F9. So probably on automatic or something. So F9 would be less light. It's just slightly underexposed there, I suppose. Don't really see anything interesting on either of those. This building is interesting, but from my vantage point, I couldn't really get any good shots. I could see from a distance that there were people working on the sign or washing windows or something. So maybe if that one were cropped up that much, but no, I don't think that's... I don't think... Still, I don't think that's interesting. Unless you crop it a lot. Maybe 1 star on that. Okay, so this one, I saw this guy taking a photo of stuff, so this one definitely... We need to crop it somewhere around there to have a photograph of a photographer taking a photo of a photographer. That one's gonna need cropping. A couple of guys over here. It's all out of focus. That one might have been interesting, but it's out of focus. Alright, so there was this really interesting house. Hey there, Gabe, how are you doing? Just started the stream a moment ago. I'm looking at some of these photos that I took today. So I went to drop off my photo. Here's a funny story. I did not get a chance to drop off my photos yesterday because after we all met up, I was gonna go in the direction of Coronado, cross the bridge, and then go to University Avenue. But guess what? They closed the bridge yesterday for hours, and I don't know exactly why, but most likely, unfortunately, there was probably a jumper on the bridge. Unfortunately, I don't know how it turned out, but they had to then close both sides of the bridge, and so I didn't know until I got all the way there to the Coronado Bridge, and the cops were just blocking it completely. You had to U-turn. So you had to exit back the way you came, Imperial Beach, and the traffic was horrible. Even just driving through Silver Strand to get into Imperial Beach took, I swear, like 45 minutes. And then navigating through... And then I thought, well, I'm not even going to go through Palm Avenue. That's going to be completely stopped up. So I went through Imperial Beach Boulevard, and that still also took a while. So by the time I got out of there, well, George's Camera, they closed at 6 or 6:30 or something. So it was too late for me to go. So I went today to drop off my photos. And then as I was walking to the place, I had this other digital camera, and I was just taking some photos along the street. So at the moment, I'm kind of browsing through my photos that I took and choosing which ones to keep and which ones not, and that sort of thing. So let me back up. So leaving one of the streets close to my place. So I'm kind of just looking at them quickly to determine which ones I want to keep or not. Nothing too interesting on that photo unless you crop it. This one they had people working up over there, so maybe that photo I might keep it if I crop it. There's something funny. So this guy taking a photo, I took a photo of a guy taking a photo, so that's pretty deep, right? So I'll probably crop that one. This one was a cool photo, but it was blurry. Not sure why it came out blurry. And then I just got here, so I was just at this place. So this looks like a scary rundown house, but I think people live here. Even though that paint's falling off, some sort of little box there is falling off, and all of this paint is chipping, so maybe I can turn this one into a nice scary black and white image in a moment. And then a few doors down, there's this house also. People probably live here, and then these weeds are up to your neck. So I'm all for nature, but when the nature takes over your house, I don't know, you might want to try to tame that nature. There is a Mason Lodge, or I don't know what they're called, but and I don't even know, are they a group, a sect, a religion? I don't know what they are. So the Masons, Freemasons, I guess. They have a building near there, and I was just taking a photo of their building, and I think this came out pretty sharp. So I'll maybe bump up the colors, and I think that's like an old building, but then with a modern light attached. There's more with people, I think people on the street that I'll show in a moment, so just kind of browsing everything for the moment. So I saw this reserved for Stern. I don't know if that means like Howard Stern. No, this is up in University Avenue. This is going over on University Avenue to George's camera, so we can do this. Let me show on the map. I have the full power here of my computer. So if you go... So you go up on the 805... Right, so we got Chula Vista, National City, going up on the 805. So pretty far up there. On the 805, you go past the 94. Keep going on the 94. You pass the intersection of the 94 and the 15. Keep going. And then you exit on University Avenue right here. This big horizontal street. University, right? It's funny, sometimes the map shows you every street except this main street that you want to look at. So is this University? Yeah, that's University. So you have to go all the way up to, on the 805, just keep going north until you get to University. You exit, take a left, and then you get to North Park, and then on North Park, so, yep, kind of just on North Park area. And I parked on one of the side streets to, instead of paying for the parking structure, I parked on the, yeah, so they're on University. So probably one of those houses that I took a photo of, because you have all of these businesses on University, and you take one block south or north, or I guess south, there's all of these houses. So somewhere on one of these houses over here, you can tell these are houses and businesses over here. So that house that I took some of those photos of. So there's this photo reserved for Stern. I don't know if that's like Howard Stern or someone else. I'm just kind of browsing my photos at the moment to see what I like or not. Putting a star rating on them to delete them maybe. A lot of nice bars on Upus. Yeah, there's a coin-op arcade there, I'm pretty sure. All things odd and weird. All things odd, weird, and strange. So I thought this was also kind of an interesting building, selling records or something. Some of these buildings look really vintage. All right, so then there's this old restaurant that shut down a long time ago, or maybe during COVID, so not that long ago. But I believe Pekin Cafe was one of the oldest Chinese food places or restaurants or something in San Diego. They were around, I don't know, since the 20s or something. And then during COVID, they closed. So the facade is still there, and it's still painted very, very nice. These bright red colors. I don't know if they still turn on the neon at night, but all of that looked really good. Okay, that one's sideways. Let me turn both of these vertically. So the kind of lens that I had, I was not able to... I wanted the verticality of this, but I wasn't able to get both of them. So maybe I'm going to try this in Photoshop. Let's see if I can combine both of these shots to be a very tall image. So Photoshop has that magic where you can take two images and have them be combined. So let's see here. Where's it at? Photo merge. Kind of running slow. There we go. All right, so add these open images. And let it automatically do everything, blend them together. Probably because I'm running my streaming software and Photoshop and a bunch of web browsers and a bunch of things. I bet it slowing my system. Just out of curiosity, what does my performance look like? So CPU's speed's very, very fast. Memory is pretty high up. So that's processing. So how's everyone doing on the stream? Today I kind of have a little bit of allergies. Actually, I've been having it for kind of a few weeks now, and I don't love that. So that's annoying. Alright, so here's the merging of those two, but how well did it merge? How well did it merge the door? Does the door have that center part right there? Yeah, this is running very slow. I'm gonna have to close up some things in memory. I took a photo in Greece with graffiti. Yeah, graffiti is interesting because maybe we see it nowadays as a modern thing, but it's been there forever. All right, so this is kind of cool. This took both. So I took that photo, and then I took that photo, and Photoshop combined them through advanced techniques. So now I just need to crop it. But it's a big image, so I bet it's using up a lot of resources. All right, so I'm going to change the mode over here to 8-bit, maybe to clear up a little memory. Then we need to crop this. Yeah, whenever you want, share that photo. That might be cool to look at. All right, let's crop this image a little bit. There it is. So 2 images combined into one. Not as impressive as I thought it would be, because the top is all cropped as well. I guess conceptually, but the end result looks like something like this. Resize it a bit. I might have to clear memory or something. This is running way slower than I would want. Yeah, it's all right. So looking at the original images, you know, actually that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of reset Photoshop. I think it's using up a lot of my memory, so if I do a little restart, I think that'll be better. I was at 89% memory, and I was looking at this even before the stream, so now it dropped down to 46. All right, let's try that again. I wonder, there probably is some button or setting or something in Photoshop itself to kind of clear out the last memory. And kind of be more efficient with it. So let me start it up. So now we're at 53% memory. 57. All right, we'll try it there. So out of my 2 photos here, I'll probably keep the one here where it focuses on the sign, and then this one where it focuses on the door. So see there? I don't know if that looks familiar. Have you been by the North Park? Have you been by the North Park sign? So if you orient yourself, that's where I'm at. There's a Target over here. There's a restaurant that they were starting to build it like a year ago, and then they tore everything down, and then they were going to then add to it, but then it kind of got stuck. Alright, so that's the North Park sign, and I was trying to get a shot here. So, okay, there's one before cars got in the way, and then where cars got in the way, so I'm not gonna keep that one. Keep the one without cars in the way. This is a pretty cool, pretty artistic. I haven't seen this on any other buildings. Here's a really cool rainbow and just cool design. Thanks. So there's the version of seeing the whole thing, and then maybe if it's even cropped, something like that. If it's cropped like that, you see all these lines going towards the Target sign. But if we don't show the Target sign, something like that, it ends in a nice red shape. So here's just a building. I like it's a very vertical building. Construction happening all the time. I thought this was kind of cool. So who knows what this building has been? Supposedly on Google Maps, you can go in and look at a location on Street View and then set a year or a date, I guess, and then kind of see in the past what a certain shot looked like. So this building, at the moment, it is something about like an art community, art classes, or something like that. So it feels like at other times it has been maybe a bank or something. And so it had these 3 windows, and then I got a shot of it. What I saw in this shot was just the regularity of the bricks. And it looks like captured that pretty well. I would probably crop just a little to the right there. I like that those lines came out nice and vertical. Here's one of the many shots that I do of just sort of leading lines, leading you to the horizon. So wouldn't you know it, as the stream is going on, that's when I'm feeling the allergies adding up. And I took the medication earlier, but it takes a while to kick in, I guess. This is a dilapidated building that I'm sure at one point was a bank. It'd be very interesting to know what the investment would be for these properties, if it's very expensive, and how much you would need to redo the foundation and the building and such. Got another vertical image to turn up here. So how's everybody doing besides me talking to myself? How's everyone doing? Anything to bring up or chat on or meander about? So here's just some scary storefront. So there's so much. Tag your own home, not mine. That's not even a home. That's a that's a business. But then someone's saying, "Stop sleeping here, old man." I wonder if anyone's ever maybe like put together some sort of catalog in a location of local graffiti. On the one hand, it might encourage people to get internet famous. But on the other hand, they are interesting artifacts. Oh, I just noticed that way in the back, at one point there was the dude, and then throughout the years of graffiti, then now on top of it there's other things. But at one point someone was putting that up. Posted, no trespassing, keep out. This sign makes no sense. So this sign has been posted. Okay, so that's a sentence. No trespassing. Same as keep out, so very redundant. Can we read any of this? Hyco Product Company, 2018, Northfield, Ohio, hyco.com, made in the US, and a barcode. So kind of just interesting old beat up building. So from the previous photo of the North Park sign, I was on the west side looking east. I went to George's camera, and now I'm coming back, so I'm on the east side looking west, the other side of the sign, at the intersection. Over here, there's kind of an interesting old car there. And a lady on a really cool motorized bicycle. They got closer to the sign. Right there. Thanks. These are all just basically out of the camera on some of them. Right now I'm just looking through them all to see what to keep and not. But then I'll bring them into Photoshop and then maybe mess with the colors or turn them black and white and such. Did you ever take Photoshop? Or any of those digital imaging classes? This one came out a little blurry for some reason. This one is really good. Giant Pizza can hit the spot. Yeah, and then you even had some you even had some leftovers to take home, right? That was there's never the wrong time for pizza. Now that pizza that you took home, did you eat it cold? I know that some people say, yeah, cold pizza, all pizza's good, but I don't really love cold pizza. I just feel that it loses all its power. So quick zap in the microwave. You know, some people get fancy and put it in the toaster oven or the regular oven. That's way too much effort. Sometimes what I do is on a skillet. Turn on a skillet, put the pizza there and flip it around a little bit, even though it's a complete waste. Photoshop with Kathleen, yeah. So this image, this demonic creature thing, I think this was a really cool image that I was able to capture. And then that's looking out my window, so nothing special on these final shots, but what I did was... You like cold leftover pizza sometimes, and if too lazy to microwave it, yes. So this image here, so there's this whole technique of infrared photography, where you take a photo of something with certain filters and the like, and the camera picks it up in a different frequency, infrared. And then with Photoshop, you can really tweak the image, supposedly. But I don't have a full... I need to research more of the techniques on how to do that, because I have the starting image, and that's supposed to then come out interesting, but I'll work on that later. So those are all of the photos that I ended up taking, and for example, I'm gonna tweak this one of the sign a little bit in Photoshop. Alright, so here will be some advanced Photoshop stuff. So first I will pick a cool starting point. I know that personally I like a lot of contrast in my images. So probably that's pretty contrasty there. So starting with that, so doing some edits like that. So then I will hit it with more saturation to make those colors really pop out. See if I can get that sky to appear more. Yeah, so we'll get the sky coming back like that. Yeah, that's nice and dramatic. Those clouds are way too bright, so can we pull them back? Something like that. Bring up the shadows. Contrast. A little brightness. Might be too yellow. Alright, so here we got before. Let's look at this. So before, and it looked fine. But then with some heavy tweaks and the like, here we have all the colors starting to pop out and the contrast. So we can get fancy right here, actually. Split view. Oops, not that one. Where's the split view? Right there. So... how do we do that again? Don't tell me that after pressing something... Yeah, this happens sometimes. This is so weird. This is so weird. All of those edits that I just made, somehow they all disappeared. Just by switching between the back and forth or something. Sometimes that happens. And now all of those edits got erased. Okay. Well, let's do that again then. So I'll just go that far for the moment. Now, can this be nice? Before and after, left and right. There it is, okay. So... Alright, so here we've got this photo. Now it's committed to a layer. Okay, so that would be an image tweaked up a little bit. Maybe I want to crop it. Let's crop it cinematically. 16 by 9. I'm going to have a lot of the sky and then less of the ground. So something around there. Like that. So now that's cinematic. So what's the last movie everyone saw recently? I was on YouTube Movies, and I randomly like to catch what movies they've got there. And one that stood out to me, and this is funny because it was part 2, and I should have watched part 1 first, but part 1 wasn't available on YouTube for free. Part 2 was available, so I saw part 2, and I still kind of want to see part 1, even though it's not really worth it after seeing part 2, I guess. But I guess part 1 is probably better because it was the first idea. So I watched that classic movie, The Cannonball Run, part 2, with Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, and a cast of characters from the 70s. Telly Savalas, Don Knotts, Frank Sinatra, Alex Rocco, Mary Lou Henner, and Farrah Fawcett's replacement. So it was just such a classic 70s movie about the Cannonball Run, which is this race that goes from California to Connecticut. And the first one that gets there wins it all. And so all of the racers have their own vehicles. It's like Wacky Races, right? The classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon or whatever company, but in real life. And a lot of dumb jokes and kind of juvenile acting and such. But it was fun, and I would definitely like to check out the first part. Okay, so with this one, I'm going to work in black and white. I'm going to first bring it down to black and white, and then we're going to do this super harsh contrast, black and white, like that. Whoa, that's dramatic. It's way too dark, but it shows this building just so ominous. Very dark tones there, with some sky. So very dramatic. It's a digital image, so noise would be an issue. Just the gibberish of that the digital sensor picks up. So I'm curious here. I'm going to open this image, and there's a setting to do here where it really messes with all the colors like that. So the other camera that I have, it's interesting to note how the colors really shift when you do this equalize mode. And this one doesn't look too bad. The colors gets darker, but it doesn't look like it's picking up the nuance of the sensor. So, and I see I've got dust either, hopefully not on the sensor, but just on the lens. And I've been noticing it on 2 cameras that I have recently, with these little motes of dust here and there, so hopefully it's just the lens. Alright, so let's say with this one, I'm going to do this one in color. So I'll pick this favorite starting point, give it some auto, bring up the brightness a lot, saturation, bring up this contrast right here a lot. That's nice. And so there we go. We have, again, a very contrasty and saturated image. I'm enjoying that sort of palette on my images, so maybe that'll be my signature style. Little chromatic aberration right there. The green and the purple. And the noise that comes out from some of these areas looks nice. So we have that super saturated result. Now this particular camera is 3x2, like a photo, but what does it look like as a 3x4 aspect ratio, like the other digicams? So you're just cropping a lot of the edge on the left. Okay, that'll work. Resize that down to 2 megapixels. There it is. That'll be a cool wallpaper on my computer. If I cropped it, if I go back and crop it as 16:9, then that'll be kind of some cool wallpaper. Or probably on my phone, figure out a cool photo to put on my phone. So so on all of this photo stuff, what I'm also gonna do is do my rounds of administration here, so I'm the moderator of this digital camera community, and I'm just gonna go in and do my moderator stuff. Maybe we'll also see some cool imagery. So we're just about to get to 2,800 members. We're in the top 20%. The local pizzeria, Canon S95. This is Otterland. They post a lot of great shots, 83 at least. And they've been on Reddit for 12 years. So Canon S95, ISO 800, f3.8, 1/8 of a second, black and white in camera. I said in another post, I fallen back in love with this. So much of these older cameras is how you interact with them, knobs and straps. Can put you in a mood. So that's a nice shot. Now how blurry is it with 1/8? Reddit's been doing this new thing that it opens in a weird way that I don't like. Well, there we go. So there will be blur as expected, but still there's a good amount of sharpness in the center of the image. Give him a little compliment over here. Yeah, so Otterland posted that one, and I think it came out very nice. It's like a film noir style, isn't it? I think he took a good photo with his camera, just like little bits of like peeking out from the darkness So I just gave him a quick compliment on his shot. He's a member of the community here that posts a lot of good stuff. Let's see what else people have uploaded. So I'm just going here doing the moderating on this community. I don't think you've posted anything there yet, Gabe, even though I invited you 10 times. But let's just look at what else. Just look at what other people's digital cameras. Let's see. Sony T5. Now, one of the things that I have to do as the moderator of that community is confirm that people stay on topic. So Sony DSC T5, is that on topic or not? I do need to post. I do need to keep people posting on topic. So Sony T5. Okay, fine. It is on topic. So that's a 2005. That looks like a cool style, actually. DSC T5, and I'm just kind of curious. What's the price on that? So that's really affordable. Maybe if there was a really interesting color, that red color definitely stands out. Silver, ooh, that blue looks nice. So this is no battery, charger, or cord untested, but it does have a battery. I'm always on the lookout for deals. I have too many of these cameras, but if something looks cool like this red one, and if it's super compact, I have plenty of cameras to enjoy at the moment, but even just looking at them. Tested and working, but has no charger, so how does that even work? Anyway, so what's this person say? Question: hello everyone, I have a Sony T5 that uses a ProDuo memory card. I'm considering using a micro SD to ProDuo adapter for cost and transferability, as micro SDs are generally cheaper and more widely. So let's see, has anyone responded? Not yet. So we'll tell them if it's more convenient for you to transfer the photos from camera to SD to computer, go for it. Be aware, however, that older digital cameras don't do well with newer, larger memory cards. You may want to look up your maximum capacity for that camera, or stay safely under 2 gigabytes and you'll be okay. So some of the older digital cameras, when people come to this community and they say, I just got this brand new camera, it's 15 years old, but my memory card doesn't work. And most of the time is because, yeah, the older cameras 15, 20 years ago, they had a limit, 2 gigabytes. 2 gigabytes was the limit for those types of memory cards, and therefore they can't handle it. And people are trying to put in a 64 gigabyte memory card. Well, you hit the limit. So you have to be careful about those older cameras. Alright, so let's look at here. Jimmy Hot Pants, they also post a lot on the community. Let's check out what photos they just uploaded. So the Ricoh GX100. This looks like a very interesting shot with the blur, almost nightmarish. Yeah, that's another really good shot. So many talented people on this community. Let's give them also a nice comment. So this is straight out of camera, aperture priority, black and white mode. Good idea to upload photos from digital camera memory card to the CPU. Yep. Especially with these older cameras that have a limit on their size, you're going to have to upload them often. Definitely. So that's the inconvenient part. But back then, that was the limitation. Alright, so someone's having a problem here. Let's see if we can help Little Goblin Jr. Hi, I have this camera in the picture, and I'd love to attach a fisheye lens to make some cool retro style pictures and videos. I don't know what to use. I'm really looking for a cheap lens. I attach the front of the lens or even clip on, but I generally can't find any info on it. So if your work is possible. Alright, so here's how we can help them. So this is a Sony CyberShot S50. So first of all, we need to find out what lens thread, filter thread that is. See if we can find that easily. Okay. All right, so first, we need to find out what is the filter thread. Sony CyberShot DS50. So the name of the subreddit is Vintage Digital Cameras. Okay, so how can we find this info? So that's a 23-year-old camera. And I'm sure we can help find them the answer over here. So if we can get a close-up shot of the actual hardware. There we go. So that's the answer there. So 37 millimeters. So where it says, okay, Sony lens optical 3x, and below that f6.1 to 18.3, 1 to 2.8, and that little symbol 37. So 37 millimeter is the size of the lens, number one. That's part of the answer. So we will say, here, so hi. After some research, it looks like the lens, looks like the camera takes 37 millimeter filters. I found this by zooming into a photo of the camera, and there is the symbol. So where's that? It might be easier. Okay, yeah, this one here. So that might not be the same, but we'll borrow that. So there's the symbol and a number. In this case, okay. In this case. So any macro screw-on lens or adapter with a 37 millimeter thread should give you the effect you're looking for. So now what we can do is look up that 37 millimeter macro, or what did they say, macro or wide angle? So any macro screw, not macro, a fisheye. So any fish eye screw-on lens or adapter with a 37 millimeter thread should give you the effect you're looking for. So let's look up on eBay 37 millimeter fisheye lens. These are probably more expensive than they wanted. We'll say here. Here's a few I found. And prices range a lot. Hope this helps. So there we go. There's their answer. They wanted to do fisheye. A distorted view. So the way you do that is you have to find what's the size of the lens. Most reputable cameras should tell you on the lens itself. So we just found that out there. That's the symbol, 37 millimeter. And then you look up, okay, give me some of those sizes. And this claims here 37 millimeter wide angle. No, panoramic is more that it is a very wide, not too tall, but very wide style of photo. That's panoramic. Why a fisheye is that it won't necessarily be rectangular. It might be square, whatever the original size is. But what you're seeing is more of the image, and also more distorted and curvy and the like, because the angle of the light is a little different. Hey there, Stevie, how are you doing? We're just we're just doing some photo stuff at the moment. Gabe is also there. So you see, here's the difference, Gabe. With the fisheye lens, it'll be like that. That you see a lot more wide. not necessarily panorama, that it's got a lot of angle, a lot of space to it, but that it's very distorted. So they're just kind of showing a bunch of different, like that's right there. See how also you might even see the edges that are blacked out because it can't capture the whole image perfectly straight. So that's what a fisheye will do. It'll just make it look like you're looking through the eye of a fish. Alright, so back to some photos. We will do a little bit more Reddit in a moment, but we'll get back to some photos that I was editing. So I think this time I'll look at some of these photos from some cameras. Let me show this camera that I got recently. So here's a camera. Here's a vintage camera that you might see them in a bunch of vintage movies and the like. And so before I take it out of the case, so okay, it looks very different than what you might expect. So it came with the case, although the case is very beat up. And then you open up the case right here, and it's got, whoa, it's got 2 lenses. What is that about? Well, let me finish taking it out of the case. So we have a little thing here, and a thing here. And then, what do? You push it or something? There we go. So this looks like a very old camera, right? I have to double check for when it's from, but I think it's from the 50s. Let's look it up right now, actually. So, I should make I know I made a note of it, but we'll look it up again. So, this is the Ricoh. This is the Super Ricoh Flex. Let's see what years this is from. 1950s. So there were various models. Mine is the Super. Super doesn't really say a date, but sometime in the 50s. I thought somewhere I saw 1958. But yeah, so these look so vintage, don't they? This is like $20. So, this is known as a TLR. So nowadays we probably know DSLRs. So an SLR, single lens reflex, that style of camera, you look through it, you take the photo, and what you're looking through is the light is coming through the lens and it's getting bounced up to your eye, and then when you hit the shutter, it makes that slap sound because the mirror slaps up for a moment to allow the light to go into the film. So Gabe, when you were taking photos, and even you Stevie, when you both have an SLR style of camera. Stevie, you've got a DSLR, digital SLR, and Gabe, your Canon there was an SLR, so digital and not, single lens reflex. So there's that reflex where the inside of the system, the mirror slaps up. That's why you hear the little slap when you take the photo, because the mirror is getting out of the way so that you take the photo. That's why when you take the photo for a moment, it becomes black, right? Because the mirror is down when you don't take the photo. When you press the button, it slaps up, it blocks your view, and then it takes the photo onto the film or the sensor. SLR, single lens reflex. This is a TLR, twin lens reflex, TLR. And I don't think there's ever been a DTLR. I don't think there's ever been that. But what's happening here is there's no mirror slap, but there's a top lens and a bottom lens. And so you're looking through this top lens, and then you take the photo, and it takes it through the bottom lens. Both lenses are the same zoom and everything. And when you focus, when I turn this one to focus, I don't know if you'll be able to see it here, but when I turn this to focus, See how they kind of turn together like wheels? So when I turn one, it's focusing. And on the back, there's nothing to look at. This right here tells you what film you have, what counter, what number of shot you have. So how do you see through it? You see through it like this. That pops up there. And then from the top, you're looking there. Can you see there the top of my actually you're seeing me right there in the camera. Actually, look, there I am right there. But you're seeing through there, and it's seeing through this top lens actually. So you're supposed to look down on it like this. You're looking down here in the reflection. There's a little mirror there, and the light goes through here. So I'm looking down here, but I'm actually seeing you there. And then I get the... Yeah, so I'm seeing you there. And then I prepare the mechanism right there, and then I fire the shot right there. So a very, very light sound compared to the SLR or DSLR that it makes a slap because the mirror slaps out of the way. There's no mechanism here at all. And what you're looking here is actually completely backwards because of mirrors. So if I look to the left, the image moves to the right. If I look up and down, it moves backwards. So you have to think about it in those terms of everything's backwards. And it even has a little magnifying thing so that when I look through there so I can get it perfectly in focus. So let me see. I might be too close, but I'm a little too close. But because there's a minimum distance, I think like 3 feet, and that's not quite 3 feet. So classic 1950s, completely mechanical, because then you take the shot and then you press the winder right here. You turn it to wind it to the next shot. And then you have to see over here. You can wind through the whole roll. It'll not stop. If you keep going and going, you're going to miss all your shots, and there's no way to rewind. So you have to look on your little mirror, your little window here, and like, okay, I'm on shot 1. Crank it, go to shot 2. Take the shot, go to shot 3. And if you don't remember to go to your next shot, you're going to take 10 shots on one shot. So it's just going to be completely messed up. So it's completely mechanical. You can put a flash on the side here. And yeah, this is a TLR style camera. Just this big old box, just this beautiful silver and black. I just got this 2 or 3 weeks ago on eBay. I took one roll of photos. That's what I'm going to show right now. I just got them back today. Overall, I was very happy with the results because I also thought it was damaged. When you were turning it, both of them were not turning together and they need to turn. So I had to look up, well, how do you fix this thing? And so I looked up some videos and such, and I found out how to fix it. And you had to remove some tiny little screws and then do some tricks and then put in some grease and line them up and make sure they focus correctly and so forth. And it took a little while, but I got it to work now, and so the focus works again. So I was worried, okay, is the focus messed up? Let me take some photos and see the results. So let's see the results. Spoiler alert, I already saw them earlier today. And then we'll see them together right now. So let's check these out. So these are the negatives, and they're all negative. But actually, let me just show the plain old JPEGs first. And then we can play with the negatives. So only 12 shots fit on one roll. So you have to be very careful to take your shots. Now, I messed up 2 shots at least, because again, it's so mechanical. And I was taking notes. I had my little app to take notes because I want to keep track of all of that. So these are some shots from Southwestern College. So I took a shot of the football field house. Took a shot, made my notes. Okay, get ready, take the next shot. Took the next shot, and I realized, whoops, I never cranked it to the next shot. So that's why this is double exposed. That's why there are 2 of these Jaguar, and the 10-foot line, and this car here is twice, and there's a ghost here but not on the second shot. So I didn't crank it to the next one, and it's super overexposed because you double shots on one frame. That's what happens. Oh, also, the shots are automatically square. These types of shots coming from the negatives of this camera are square. Let me show one more thing here. So to put the film into it, it doesn't take regular 35mm film like the one we used on Friday, Gabe. This takes another type of film called 120 or medium format, which was invented 100 years ago, and they still sell it, but only on places like George's Camera, not CVS. So you have to open a little latch right here, and then you open it up like this. So this, just again, it's completely mechanical. This opens up in the back, and then what you're seeing right there, that square shape, that's the negative. So you saw on the roll of film, right here, this is some regular old film, like that Fuji film that we just saw on Friday. So, okay, regular roll of film. Medium format film is there. That whole shape right there is a negative. That whole size right there is a negative. So compared to 35mm film, look at how much huger that is. So it's like less than half of this negative here. So the negatives are huge, so they have a lot of detail. And it's just a really interesting style of photography. It's very slow, very deliberate. You have to remember to crank it to the next shot. You have to remember to arm the shutter. You have to prepare it here. Okay, ready to take the shot. Take the shot. You have to set your settings all manually on a bunch of dials and such on the side. For your shutter speed, your aperture, all that stuff. You have to do all of those steps every time. You can easily mess it up like I did on my shot right there, and another one that I'll show in a moment. So here's this shot of the field house. So then I took a better shot right here. I took it with black and white film. This can take color film, of course, but I just had some black and white film ready at that moment to prepare it, taking notes on how my shots were. These are the smaller zoomed out shots. I'll show the zooms in a moment. So okay, came out fine. Maybe the sky's a little overexposed, but that can all still be edited. So here's one that I also did. Whoops. Two shots on one. It's kind of interesting because there's these lines that kind of look interesting. But I accidentally took 2 shots at once on that one. These two right here, these are 2 different shots, but I was kind of changing the focus a little bit. And so I was testing the focus, close focus, far focus. Also the clouds moved. But the like usual, I take a lot of photos with like a lot of lines and angles, leading lines. So here is one of the Jaguar down there. I had 2 of these. I was trying to figure out the focus. So it looks like focus was good, that I did fix it properly. Again, these are just all tests, so there's a lot of duplicates because I was just testing focus and exposure and such. And I'm seeing, overall, I think things are overexposed, so probably then the shutter is slower than it claims. So you just have to bump it to the next speed, I guess. So then I try to see, okay, let's see how close I can get to things. All of these other shots were far shots. See about getting closer to things. So here's like the closest. I went into I put it on the setting here about the closest focus to get into it. Closest it claims is 3.5 feet. So I tried to get in as close as it claimed, 3.5 feet. And so the things that was closer than 3.5 feet is out of focus, but the thing that at 3.5 feet, I guess, is in focus. So that's what I was looking for. And then I took a shot here of the sun. Now, all of those were the JPEGs, which were the final versions. I'm going to open the original negatives and show the quality here, because those are just shrunk down for me to see if the exposure and such was okay. Here, I'm going to open the original negative, and then and this is the negative, so all the colors are backwards. But I'm going to convert and then contrast. All right, so here's the original negative with the full resolution. Now if I zoom in 100%, look at that. You see all of those little holes in the design. If you are standing far away from that theater building, you just see the design and it looks, wow, a cool sun. But that's made out of all of these millions of little holes, like pixels, but punched into the metal. And this camera took it all very sharp. It's slightly out of focus there. I'm not sure if that's the lens or what, but everything in the center where everyone's gonna look is very sharp, and I'm very happy with this camera. So again, I got it for like $20 on eBay. I thought it was slightly broken because I was playing with the focus and then it felt like it broke. And then I went in and had to disassemble it slightly and fix a thing and then add some oil, and then now it looked like focus was just right. So yeah, the focus seems just right. I was maybe, how far away there? 10 feet. So I'm 10 feet away, everything looks cool. And the lens was even able to capture all of that detail, like that one little, you like this one pixel here. Exposure, I think everything was slightly overexposed, and that I think that again just means for the future. And now this doesn't have any meter, so you two were used to, take my camera out and just snap it. The camera knows what settings to put. Nope, this not at all. You might have seen that I had this little external light meter. So same thing with this one. You have to check your light meter and put those settings onto the camera and then take the photo. So all of these shots that I took notes, and all of them came out slightly overexposed. So that just means next time when I use that camera again, get the right settings and then bump it up one setting more so that it's not all overexposed. And that's vintage photography. So let's see, the one of the plant, here's the original negative. So let's see about this. Going to reverse the colors, not the colors, but the tones. Okay, so reverse that and then contrast. There we go. You like the apparatus you used the other day to trim in? Yeah, I just need to get used to using it more, because this one, that little rangefinder, it had it in feet, and that camera that I had at that moment was in meters, so the conversion isn't the same. This is in feet, so that rangefinder would be accurate there, but it has its own focus, so no problem. All right, so on this one, I tried to see what's the closest I can get, and so going in with 100% quality, we see that the focus hit here perfectly. You can see the little spikes of the plant. So you see a lot of the detail there, and then the stuff out of focus is just barely 1 foot or half a foot away. So that's out of focus there, coming right at the camera. In focus very well right there. And then, so there's a very short depth of field. Let me see here. Even though I was focused on this, there's a little bit focus in front and behind the spot I focused on, but then what's out of focus is definitely out of focus. So there's that plant. The stuff that was at a distance. All right, so this one that it's more of the field. Let's see, so we'll convert. We'll crop out the extra part. And then invert and then fix the contrast right there. So if we zoom in 100%, you can see the texture of the grass. I focused at it more of a distance, so the closest pole, it's out of focus as normal. On the field, that's in good focus. You see the texture of the grass. Further out, you can see the Jaguar logo pretty well. Seats over there. You can see the bricks. I can probably bring up the contrast a bit to see the detail, but even way back there. Let's see about some contrast here. So pumping up the contrast a little bit. I can see vignetting, which means that the corners are a little darker than the center. That's a vignette. And that's part of its style, I guess. There it is. Contrast is up. So yeah, I'm very happy. I want to use that camera a little bit more soon, but it is a very, very slow camera to take photos with. You have to stop and compose and do everything. You only get 12 shots as well, so all right, well, I think photo-wise, the photos that I took that we all took together. So the ones that I took yesterday, I dropped them off. They'll be ready in 1 or 2 weeks. And I might show them in the future. So these last few weeks I've been doing this photo sort of stream rather than magic. And that's just to kind of change my perspective. I was wanting to take a little break from the magic stuff. I might go back to magic next week. I don't know. What do you all think? Should I go back to magic again next week? But I wanted to change things up today with some photography stuff. And just kind of sharing from my recent camera. Used to despise Photoshop mostly due to the high price of the membership, but after learning it, yeah. And if you take classes, then you can get it for the discount, but it still costs, unfortunately. But it can do so much. So, yeah. Yeah, good to change things up here and there. Might figure out if I want to go back to Magic next week. I'll announce it on the Discord. But I've been streaming for a little while now, so I'll probably wind it down. And thanks everyone for hanging out. We'll see about another photo get-together soon, or a magic get-together soon, or whatever. Be on the lookout for that in the card club. And then I've also got some videos and such on my own YouTube coming up. I'm at... How many do I have? I have 1,900 something. Let's see. I have 1,914 subscribers at the moment. So this is interesting. When we took the photo of me in front of that house, 777. So numbers are fun. And I've got 1,914, so like the year 1914, right? What happened in 1914? World War I. So that's interesting. I've got 1914, so I'm close. I'm close to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube soon. So that's always cool. It's been a while since we all did a magic get-together. Yep. So I'm not going to be paranoid and say that other people are putting games together, because I'm sure they would have said so on the Discord. But yeah, I don't think no one's met up on that, or they just show up and see who's there. So we'll be on the lookout to see about maybe games in the future. Alright everyone, well, thanks for coming to hang out. We'll be back on the next time. Don't be a stranger on the Discord. We will check out more cool stuff in the future. This has been VM Campos, and I'll see you next time on the stream or in real life.